So, we've been studying the book of Jonah, and we have come to the last chapter in the book of Jonah. What a book, what a character. We'll come to chapter 4. So, before this sermon series, some of us thought that the book of Jonah was mostly about the big fish that swallowed Jonah. If at this point you still feel that way, then you've missed the point. You've missed the point. Because we have observed Jonah's beliefs, we've observed Jonah's feelings, his thoughts, his actions, his motives. We've seen his superiority complex. We've seen him trying to save himself, running from God. We've seen him in his fear of being condemned. We've seen him preach God's wrath without God's love. Yes. You see, but if at this point, this is all you feel about the book, if all you feel is about Jonah, then you've missed the point. Because we've seen that we all, like Jonah, need to turn from our flaws together. We all face raging storms in life. We all need to cry to God for deliverance. Yes. But if at this point, you think this is all we take away from Jonah, then you've missed at least 2 more points from the book. Because we will see that there are 2 sermons left in the sermon series. And today's sermon is one of them, right? God still has something to show us about Jonah and ourselves. And today, God is doing that with the aid of a question. He's asking us, is it right for you to be angry? Is it right for you to be angry? And you see that in verse 4 of the text that was read to us. Jonah 4, he says, is it right for you to be angry? You see, this question does not demand a simple yes or no answer. Most times when God asks you a question like this, when God asks a question like the one he asked Jonah, he wants you to probe deep. He wants you to search yourself. He wants you, this is for the ladies, he wants you to go past your highlighter. Go past the foundation, go past the concealer, the color correct, the primer, go past the moisturizer, the face scrub, the facial cleanser. Get past all those until you hit the real face of what's wrong. When God asks, why did you laugh, Sarah? He wanted her to get to the real face of her doubt. When he asked Cain, where is your brother? He wanted him to probe the depth of his hatred. When he asked Adam, where art thou? He wanted him to uncover his disobedience. When God asked Jonah, is it right for you to be angry? He wanted him to confront the motive for his anger. But please don't miss the point. God is not asking less of you today. Brothers, sisters, friends, God is asking you that in all the diverse ways, in all the numerous ways that you have and still display anger, He's asking you, is it right for you to be angry? That is a question from the book before us today. This is not an easy question. So I want us to start with an easier one. And a question I think we need to ask ourselves first. And that question is, do you have an anger problem? So we're going to answer 2 major questions. The first question is, do you have an anger problem? And the second question is it right for you to be angry? Do you have an anger problem? You see, verse 1 of our text, it starts by saying, but to Jonah, this seemed very wrong and he became angry. You see, this translation is kind of, it makes light of Jonah's anger. If you read the ESV, this is NIV, if you read the ESV, see what it says. It says, but Jonah was greatly displeased and he became angry. What God had done for the people of Nineveh greatly displeased Jonah. So I have to check this in the Hebrew translation. See, use the word ra. But let's not go down that line. That's for Emmanuel and Pastor Femi. See what it says. In Hebrew, this is what it means if you translate it. It means it is evil to Jonah with great evil. So this was no small anger. This was not a mild irritation. This was not just throwing some tantrum or just sulking. It was heavy, was strong. Jonah the para, Jonah the vex. Jonah eye the red, the blood the hot. Jonah fit keep person. You see, Jonah was so angry. See what he said to God in verse 2. Is this not what I said when I was still at home? Is this not what I said? He was yelling, screaming at God. This is what I tried to forestall when I told you. And this is how anger often works. You see the pattern? I want to show you the pattern. It's a 3-step pattern. This anger often works. First, you perceive something to be wrong. You see, but to Jonah, this seemed very wrong. The next step, then you feel so bad, you feel so strongly about this thing, and he became angry. You see the third step? Third step is that then you do something about it, you react to it. Look what he said. He now spoke negatively to God. I told you, is this not what I said? You see, we know anger like this. Some of us, we know anger like this in our lives or in the lives of other people. Look at this step. The junior staff writes a terrible report. The boss became angry and he throws the plaque on his office table at him. The son steals meat from the pot again. The mother became angry and beat him so much till the neighbors upstairs and downstairs came to rescue him. The wife overfries plantain. The husband tastes it, and he became angry. And he insults the wife and her family over and over again for over high bride price. I'm laughing. It's not true. The waiter forgets that you told him savings. Current savings, you forgot. It's becoming rude. And then what do? You see, the customer became angry, calls the waiter names, and asks for the manager. The government, the people of the city, they ordered palliatives, showing that they do not care. The poor young man living under the bridge did what? Became angry, vandalizes and loots houses and shops. You see, I know some of us may not be that fierce. You see, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. You see, I may get angry sometimes, but I'm not an angry person. I know. I was reading a book by David Paulison, respected Christian psychologist. In his introduction, he wrote about anger. In chapter 1, he was just talking about it, and I was looking at it, I was saying, man, people are angry in this life. People, I don't know why people get angry. I was just talking about people, just think about names, my former boss, my former boss, so it's not my former boss. Please, I'm not talking about my former boss, the one before. Then, just think about, sometimes, just talk about other people. Then he now gets to chapter 2. In chapter 1, I think title of chapter 1 was something like maybe the anger in different directions. Then chapter 2, you now see title of the chapter. Do you have an anger problem? Then he now said, yes. And he now moved to chapter 3. I said, I went back. I said, there's something wrong with my Kindle. He just wrote yes. And then he even had exercises for you to work on. I said, so this chapter is really done. You see, like, my response is like, I feel like I'm an easygoing person. I was born with a sunny disposition. Like, what you see is what you get person. I'm not like the phone you buy on traffic. I'm what you get in Apple Store. What you see is what you get. Like, real. Just always smiling, always joking. You see, sometime, I think last year, when I was on staff, at a retreat, staff retreat, people are talking about different colleagues, what they liked about each other. I said, Elijah, the guy with the beards that plays the keyboard here. He said, what I like about Dami is that he never gets angry. He's always easygoing. He's always smiling even when you annoy him. He doesn't do anything, That. So, not bad. That's not a bad assessment, But then I got married. You guys know now. You know what like, what brings the worst out of you in this life more than marriage? What? That shows you all your sins, all your flaws, everything, the hidden things of dishonesty. As if that was not enough, then I started driving in Lagos. Which is worse, married or driving? Which one can bring out rage and anger and reveal all your wickedness? I don't know which one. Then something happened that jammed these two factors together in my life. Bam! Oh God. I'll be driving, I'll be driving now. I like driving on my own. I go when my wife is not. I also drive. I just go and deliver everything, bring for you. Don't bother to go with me. When my wife goes with me, she'll tell me, hey, Dami, you did not turn on the trafficator. I said, there's nobody behind me. You will still turn it. Oh God. Dami, you need to leave at least when you're in go slow. American accent will not be coming outside. You see, when you're in go slow, you leave at least a space for a car. A space for one car. What? Why? And then, or we'll be going and then she'll say something like, Dami, you didn't press the brake on. I pressed the brake. He said, I did not feel it. How will you feel it? We cannot feel anything. Then one day, December 31st, we are driving to like a party, end of year party. This thing, what? Enter me. Today I'm not. I just slam my hands on the steering. Bam! Why are you testing the limits of my patience? I did not insult, I didn't yell, but I shouted, I slammed the fresh, fierce anger. You see, some of you will say, I have never slapped my wife. I have never laid hands on my son. I have never insulted my maid. You see, but sometimes, and for some of us, you see, the anger is not that loud. It's quieter. The anger is there. But you seem dormant, but you are simmering. You are boiling gently under. You see, nothing may happen on the outside, but inside, you remember what the person did to you. You weigh what happened. You run scenarios of what you should do. You form words. You weigh possible actions. You plan. You see, whether or not you're going to do anything outwardly, you are thinking, you idiot. Idiot. That's not fair. That's not fair. I can't believe what she did to me. Nonsense. You imagine. You bring up, you script and rehearse scenarios of what you can say, what you can do to this person that will make the person look foolish, that will make her look stupid, that will make her feel useless. Specializing in cold war, in quiet, simmering, boiling gently war. You see, sometimes I'm quiet. I don't bang my hands on the car, on the steering. Every time that's happened only once, but other times when we have that kind of, when she corrects all those times over and over again, we just have this long, quiet ride home. A peaceful ride. Good for meditation. Nobody is talking to anybody. 2 hours. We just chill. Just there, we're just concentrating on their life. You know this kind of anger now? They tell you to say, for kids, when they train you, if you grew up in a good home, they tell you, when you need something, you say, please. When you want to go, you say, excuse me. When you got this stuff, you say, thank you. Good stuff. But you know how you can use that in anger? Where normally when something happens, when your wife touches you or when you're like, hey, I've late, hey, come on. But now, sorry. You want to take this? Excuse me, can I take this? She does something, why do you even do it for me? Thank you. Mild irritation. See, the anger pattern is the same. You perceive something to be wrong, you feel strongly about it, and you react to it, whether you do it loudly or whether you do it quietly, you still do the same anger pattern. Some of us are still like, wow, man, people are angry in this life. Okay? I never knew all this. How can people just walk themselves up like that? I have never raised my voice in my life, ever. I've never kept malice, never kept grudge. You see, you know how to avoid outright conflicts. You know how to keep a safe distance from conflict. Look at verse 2. Jonah said, this is what I try to forestall by fleeing to Tarshish. Forestall this, flee. This is what I try to do. Jonah practiced a defensive withdrawal. You see, a very low-grade irritability. God, you want me to go to Nineveh? I don't want to go to Nineveh. And I don't want to argue with you. I will just go to Tarshish, gingerly. Let me just go to my Tarshish, gingerly. No need to fight. No need for arguments. You see, it's when you attach yourself too much to things that you get upset. You've done it so well. Horrible bosses, traffic jam, wicked landlords, even marriage has not brought out the worst in you. You see, like Jonah, as we see everything coming out now in chapter 4, we see the Eden critical attitude. We see the things coming out. There is still anger there in you. You've only insulated yourself from the broken things of life. You've covered the face of your anger with the facial cleanser, the face scrub, the moisturizer, the primer, the color correct, the concealer. You've covered your face with the foundation and the highlighter. But let's even say that you've never had cause to be angry in your life at all. Nobody or nothing has ever angered you. You are born with a happy temperament. Your mother did not feel pain when she gave birth to you. You did not cry when you came out. Your father did not beat you. Nobody bullied you in school. You were homeschooled. You went to university online. No way for waitress to annoy you. You only do delivery, and they always deliver on time, and they always know your address. You never experience traffic jam because your parents have a fleet of helicopters, and you did not marry. You don't have in-laws. My brother, you still have an anger problem. How? You ask. Wait, I'll get there. Oh yeah, let's say that you even went through all these things. People did all sorts of things to make you angry, but you never got angry for once in your life. Maybe because you practice yoga. You take mindfulness classes. You take deep breaths. Or you say to yourself 10 times, Alaye, calm down. You are not an angry person, so don't be angry. Alaye, calm down. You're not an angry person, so don't be angry. Arábìnrin, calm down. You're not an angry person, so don't be angry. Arábìnrin, calm down. 10 times. Alaye, Arábìnrin, you still have an anger problem. How? That takes me to the second question. Is it right for you to be angry? Is it right? Is it popular text? Ephesians 4:26. We know it. How I wish we all live by it well. Ephesians 4:26. What did Paul say? Paul says, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. The apostle acknowledges the right to anger. But he's saying, don't sin. Anger can be a right thing for a person to display. See, in Matthew 21, look at the pattern of anger. Jesus was very angry, furious. Look at the pattern. You see, he was angry. And Hebrews 4 told us that Jesus was without sin. So he was angry, but yes, look at the pattern. You see, Jesus, in the temple, this was in the temple, the Pharisees, the people, were selling all kinds of things in the house of God, in the house of prayer. Jesus got there and was furious. He was angry. He became angry. And what did he do? He made a whip. He overturned their tables. He made a whip and drove them out of the temple. In Mark 3, Sabbath day, a crippled man with a crippled hand, and the Pharisees were wondering, will Jesus heal on Sabbath day? do good on Sabbath day, and Jesus became angry, furious. He looked at them. What kinds of people are these? People do not like this. He was furious, he was angry. And what did he do? He healed the man. He said, stretch out your hand, and he healed the man. See the pattern of anger. Jesus' anger was pure, was holy, was just, righteous, did good, healed. When you were younger and you were in school together with your brother and somebody was beating him on the playground, you saw it and you became angry and you ran to him to rescue him. People who were supposed to be your friends, who were supposed to protect you, assault you, maim you, extort you, slaughter you like animals. You became angry. You gathered yourselves together and you went to the streets and you lifted up your voice in protests and laments. This is anger. Right anger. Righteous anger. Primal anger. You don't even have to be a Christian. So, Alaye, Aderemi, not getting angry at anything, not getting angry at all is not holiness. In fact, to be angry can be the most righteous thing to do at times. Something truly wrong is happening and you don't care enough to care. Even if it's not happening to you, you don't pay attention, you don't ignore, or maybe you don't even notice. It is wrong for you not to get angry. See what John Chrysostom said, preacher, long time ago. Preacher, he says it more eloquently than I can ever say it. See what he says. He says, I want you to listen attentively. He says, he who is angry without cause sins. He who is not angry when there is cause sins. For unreasonable patience is the hotbed of many vices. Look at it again. He who is angry without cause sins. He who is not angry when there is cause sins. See, in verse 2 of our text, when Jonah was listing characteristics of God, abounding in love, gracious, compassionate, in between there he put something. He says, for God is slow to anger. He says this, anger. God displays anger. He's God, but he displays anger. He said when we exhibit this right anger, we are portraying ourselves as the image of God. So you see, the problem is not that we get angry. The problem is that our anger is often messed up. Our anger is often sinful. That is the problem. Sometimes your anger is justified. Of course, someone has done something wrong. You perceived it to be wrong. You became angry. You reacted in a way that motivated fairness and constructive progress. Yes, good. But most times, let's be honest. Most times, most of us, let's be honest. Though what has been done to you was very wrong, your anger was not justified. You blew it out of proportion. You call for the wrong of the governor. Yes, he did wrong by every stretch of imagination. But you started calling him names, all kinds of names on Twitter. He's a fool. He's a mad dog. He's an animal. You exaggerate what the person said. You take things too personal. You misinterpret. You allow your agenda to override you. That's how you always are, Leko. That's how you always are. You are good for nothing in this department. Good for nothing. I wonder, are you the person to go to school in your family? You are just good for nothing. When you can still display a righteous anger, saying, this guy is not good for this role, he doesn't have the skill. You can, in righteous anger, you can even let him go and it will be good for his career. Show him how he can measure up and do well. But no, you rather rain insult and abuse on him till he loses his self-esteem. You meditate on the odds that the person has done for you. You sit on the eggs of this anger till they hatch into chicks of bitterness. You keep bringing up what the person has said and done over and over in your mind. Even in church, you tell your sister, what are we going to do? Let's shall be praying for her. She's our sister. What are we going to do? It's our sister. But what is your intent? What is your motive? What were you thinking when you said those words? You see, for some of us, we are walking time bombs. We are Boko Harams of anger. You've accumulated and suppressed anger over a number of years. One day, you may not explode like the woman who had endured domestic abuse for 13 years and stabbed her husband repeatedly in the head in the night while he was asleep till he died. You may not. But one day you will explode. And it will harm a lot of people. Because that's what bombs do. Tomorrow, in that traffic on Echo Bridge, you will not allow that car to enter your front. And it will eat you. And you will shout at the woman driving the car. You are a woman. That's why you cannot drive. And she will tell you that I'm sure that a man like you cannot keep a woman in the house. And you will delay other drivers. They will become angry because of you. They will all be honking their horn. And a policeman or a last-mile guy will come to settle the matter. Everyone will say that you are the cause. He will find you responsible. He will say, I will not let you go unless you bless me. You will bless him because you are in a hurry, but you will keep saying it's the woman. And you will curse the woman under your breath till you get home. You will be cursing the woman and the police. When you get home, the woman that kept you at home will ask what happened. You will get mad at her too. Or you both will join mouth and be mad at the woman. Be mad at the police. Be mad at the Lagosians. Be mad at the government. Be mad even at God, who has not granted you success in the application of a Canadian visa. Because you will not be here. Abi a lie? Abi Solomon lie? See what Solomon said in Proverbs 15 and 19. So what it says? It says, a hot-tempered person stirs up what? Conflict. But the one who is patient calms a quarrel. Here another one. So it talk. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. I never finished. Here another one. A hot-tempered person must pay the penalty. Rescue them, and you will have to do it again. So how do you separate the destructive parts of anger from the constructive parts? How can you learn to get upset about the right things and to express your concern in the right way? Where can you find help that really helps? We're going to get there, but first, I want us to get down to the facial scrub level of our anger. See in verse 1. See what it says. But to Jonah, this seemed very wrong. What seemed very wrong? You see it in chapter 3, verse 10. When we preached from a week ago. You see, God had shown mercy to the people of Nineveh. And that was why Jonah was angry. Was angry that God had shown mercy to the people of Nineveh. You see, in chapter 2, we treated it in 2 sermons. The man and pastor preached from chapter 2. You see, when God saved Jonah in the belly of the fish, how did Jonah respond? You see, Jonah responded with a grateful prayer. Hey, he was just singing, oh God, best, the best, the best. Oh, was rejoicing, was happy. In verse 9, see what he said. He said, I, with shouts of grateful praise, will sacrifice to you, oh God. But see in chapter 4, when God now saved the people of Nineveh, how did Jonah respond? You see, look at his prayer. It's selfish prayer. Is this not, he prayed. He said, verse 2 said he prayed. But look at his prayer. Is this not what I said? This is what I tried to forestall. I knew that you are a... He was happy when he was saved, but he was angry when others were. You see, commentators, theologians have said that no, it's because of nationalism. It's because of Jonah's inordinate love of his country people. He loved his people more than the people of Nineveh. That was why. Someone said that it is because Jonah feared that these people of Nineveh, these Assyrians, will eventually come and kill his people. Or some people will say, oh, Jonah had been preaching to his people for a long time and did not hear a word. And now, he now preached to these people, like Pastor Femi said, he now preached to these people. They now, no, I can't take it. Come off it, guys. He said, and they accept this. No, this, how will the people in Israel now know that I'm a true prophet? How? See, guys, even if we say that it was nationalism or racism that drove Jonah, we can see that deep down it is self-interest. See what Ibrahim X. Kendi says. Ibrahim X. Kendi, one of the sharpest and youngest thinkers on anti-racism in America. See what he says. He says, the foundation of racism is not ignorance or hate. It is self-interest, particularly economic, political, and cultural. Whatever the case, what is obvious is that the motive for Jonah's anger was self-interest, self-preservation, self-elevation. Look at his speech to God. I said, I fled, I knew self. I. He wanted to be seen as a great, powerful preacher. But that did not happen. He became angry. He feared that the Assyrians would come and kill his people. The Assyrians did not die. He became angry. He loved this country with all that he is, even more than he loved God, and hated Nineveh. But God loved this country. God loved his country, Jonah's country, and God still loved Nineveh. He became angry. But see, Jonah, he was blaming God for what had happened and for his anger. And so God is asking Jonah, what did he ask him? He said, is it right for you to be angry? It is my stupid junior staff that made me angry. Really? Is it not that you want to make a good impression on your boss, and that means promotion, and that means more money, and now this riffraff is spoiling your game? Is it not more money that made you throw your plaque at him? Is it right for you to be angry? Oh, you can say, that it was the stubbornness of my son that made me angry. Hey, but is it not that you are a minister's wife? And you usually correct other people's children. Now, people will say, look at our own child. So you want to straighten him by hook or by crook, so that they will say you are a Proverbs 31 woman. Or maybe you are a career woman. You don't have time for your kids. You want to maximize the time you have. You put it inside him. Or put it inside. Or beat the daylight into you. Or beat the hell out of you. So that people can say that she can have it all woman. Is it right for you to be angry? One last one. You can say that it is the waiter's rudeness that made you that angry, that made you call her names. Is it not that you want to show that you have connections with one of the managers, one of the founders of these restaurants, and that you can make them fire him so that he will fear you, so that he will worship you, so that you will now feel important? Is it right for you to be angry? God is asking you gently, softly, tenderly, earnestly, is it right for you to be angry? You see, most of these things that we want, that I've recognized, that we need, that we love, all of these things we've mentioned, you see, it's not like they are, most of these that make us angry, it's not like they are bad things, they are good things. They are things to be hard, even for many of us. But see the problem, see verse 3 of our text, see the problem here. This is the problem with it. This is the problem in verse 3. See what Jonah said. Jonah said, now, Lord, take away my life. For it is better for me to die than to live. He's saying that, God, if you won't kill the people of Nineveh, kill me. He's saying that if you won't give me what I want, then my life is not worth living. See, your anger reveals what is important to you. Show me what makes a man or a woman angry, and I will show you what is important to him. When a little thing pushes your buttons, it says something big about the buttons inside you. You see, this is wrong anger. This is wrong anger. This is wrong and defined in some way. I want that thing so bad that I will use my words, I will use my thoughts, I will use my feelings, I will use my actions to prevent, to destroy, to neutralize whoever or whatever is preventing me from getting it, because it matters so much to me, because it matters too much to me. Without it, my life, because without it, my life will not be sweet. Because without it, my life will not be complete. Because without it, my life will not be worth living. And you're saying, this thing is the God that I want to live for. This is the thing I want to love with all my heart, with all of my mind, with all my strength, with all my soul, with all my spirit, with all of my body. I want it now. I want it here. I want it like this. You see, Christian, this is everyone. But for Christians, those who are strong in the Lord, when we say, no, I worship the true God at all times. Hey, ask yourself. But when you are impatient, or when you are wrongfully angry, don't you know what you're saying? You're saying, I can't wait. I'm saying, I can't wait for divine providence. I can't wait for God's hands. I just can't wait for God. I can't wait for God to touch my son. I can't wait for God to give me the promotion. I can't wait on him. If he will not give me, if he will not give me for approval, I can't wait on God for love. God is taking too long. I want to show you something. Can't wait for God, taking too long. Exodus 32, verse 1. Exodus 32, verse 1. I want to show you something. You see, when Jonah said, I knew that you are a God that is gracious, that is compassionate, that is abounding in love, that is slow to anger, that relents from sending calamity to people. See where Jonah was quoting from Exodus 34, was quoting from a time of God with Moses and the people of Israel. But see where the story started from. I want to show you something. It's Exodus 32. You can't wait for God. See what Exodus 32 says. He said, when the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain, what did they do? They gathered around Aaron and said, come, make us gods who will go before us. This was Moses was going to collect the 10 commandments from God. See, they could not wait. You see, as for this fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, your daughters are wearing and bring them to me. And then what did they do? He made a golden calf, a god out of these things for them. And what people were saying, he said, look at the God that saved us. Look at the God that brought us out of Egypt. They are pointing to the golden calf. And what did Moses do? So look at what Moses do in 9-11. God says in 9-11, you see, in 9-11, go to 9-11. See what Moses says. Moses says, God says, I have seen these people. The Lord said to Moses, they are a stiff-necked people. Now leave me alone so that my anger may burn against them, that I may destroy them. Then I will make you, Moses, into a great nation. But look how Moses replied. Oh God, look how Moses replied. Look how Moses replied. Gentleman, humble man, meek man, great man. See what he says. But Moses sought the favor of the Lord his God. Lord, he said, why should your anger burn against your people, whom you brought out of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? He interceded for God's people. And God averted the danger. God averted the destruction on his people because Moses interceded. You see, in Numbers 13, verses 4. See what God says about Moses. Look at this kind of man. Look at what God says about Moses. He says, now Moses was The meekest man on the earth. Meekest man. This guy doesn't get angry anyhow. Uses anger well. Good man. He knows how to display his anger. Now, Moses was a very humble man. More humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. But we know what happened to Moses. Just at the edge of the promised land, when they were about to enter, God told Moses, see, these people are thirsty. 2 million people. Can you pastor a church of 2 million angry, frustrated people? So they have frustrated this guy. And instead of him to speak to the rock as God commanded him, what did Moses do? Moses struck the rock in anger. Hey, even the best man, the most meek man, the most humble man, he fell. He fell. His anger was corrupted. His anger became sinful. God said, you will not see the promised land. You will die outside this land. You see, in Exodus 34, this God reveals himself. You see, this is what Jonah was saying. He said, you will not see the promised land. But see what this God is saying? See, you will die. You are the meekest man, but you will not enter. You see, but what we have been seeing in this series, what we've been seeing all through is that there is a greater than Jonah. There is. Because even the best of us will fail. The best of us, no matter how we try, will come short. But there is a greater than Jonah. You see, there is a meeker than Moses. There is a man whose zeal for God's house, God's kingdom, consumes him so much that he displays righteous anger. Like his father, he displays his anger only out of love for us, only with grace and compassion, with mercy, rich in love. In response to people's anger, what does he do? He says, stretch out your hand, you crippled man. He heals us. He heals us in our heart and from our pain. But what did this man get in return? He said, we gathered as an angry mob. We gathered and we nailed him to the cross. We nailed him outside the city, in Golgotha, on the cross. Why did he do this? You see, in Exodus 34, verse 6 to 7, Jonah misquoted this verse, but you see it correctly in 6 to 7. See what God had told Moses. See why Jesus would do this and die on the cross for us. See what 6 to 7 is in Exodus 34. He says that, you see, I am, look at, it starts from the God, compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. See the part that Jonah missed. He said, yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. This is why Jesus died outside the city, for our own guilt, for our own anger, for our own pain, because Moses and Jonah is not enough. So that we, unlike Moses, who is better than us, can enter the promised land. So that we can enter the place of milk and honey, a place of satisfaction, enter into eternal life with God, despite our constant failures with anger and hurt, bitterness, malice. God is slow to anger. No matter how long, no matter how much you've fallen over and over again into angry outbursts, He is slow to anger. This means that He gives you more than enough chances. He gave Pharaoh 10 chances before He will give you enough chances, even more chances than Pharaoh, because Jesus has borne it for you. When He sees you angry, when He's seen you all the times you've abused, the way you've destroyed people and they cannot even recover with your anger, God is looking at you, but He's looking at Jesus and saying, Jesus has died for this guy's anger, for this guy's sinful display of anger. He's looking at you with love and mercy and grace and compassion. I want you to come to Him this morning. I want you to draw near to Him this hour. You see, when you meditate on this kind of response, God said it softly, is it right for you to be angry? Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Softly, tenderly, earnestly. This is how you will not have to destroy people to exalt yourself. This is why you will not have to serve all these gods that you have some peace. This is the only way you can walk out your anger in righteousness. Would you draw to Jesus this morning? Would you meditate on the cross this morning? Would you meditate on the cross this morning? Would you meditate on what Jesus did on the cross this morning?